Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
I am George Luna.
I'm Brittany Pacheco,
I'm the Black Wolf, baby. Let's get it.
and we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to another edition of the Watchers in the Basement. Today, we're here to talk about episode 4 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The episode is titled The Whole World is Watching. And I don't know if that's true or not, but it should be because this show is good. What'd y'all think about episode 4? I'll go to George first. What'd you think about it?
Oh man, I honestly, the ending. This is the best episode so far. I feel like we say this every time. Every episode is better and better. But that ending fucked me up. I was like, yo. That's all I'll say right now until we get into the goddamn. That was crazy. I was literally featured. I was like, yo, did he really just do that?
He did.
But, oh man, I can't wait to talk about this with y'all.
He very much did. Brittany, what did you think about the 4th episode?
It was intense, I will say for sure. To echo George about the ending, I mean, we're not going to get into it right here, right now, but it was like, holy shit. I think that's like the only expression, other than the fact that I was like this, the entire time because I couldn't believe what was happening at the ending. But this story has really progressed in just this episode. And the very fact that we're like, 2 episodes away from the season finale. Oh my God. Like they're going to have to, I can't even imagine what's in store, but great story progression. I love seeing the Wakandan Dora Milaje come in and like just fuck shit up. I mean, John Walker, they got your number. They're coming at you, bro. Like, fuck you. Just saying. So I'm gonna toss it to Frank because I know you had to enjoy this episode.
Brittany, just so you know, I'm gonna put that on a bumper sticker. Fucking fuck shit up. I like that. I like that line. That's pretty dope.
I'm just saying.
No, man, I'm gonna echo what George and Brittany said, man. Every time we come into this a new podcast, we always said it was the best episode yet, and it just tops the previous episode. And every time on social media, I'm always posting the same thing. Damn, Disney went there. Damn, okay, Disney. Like it's just the amount of like things that they're touching on is just I'm flabbergasted and impressed all at the same damn time. Man, Wyatt, what's the last name? What's Wyatt Russell?
Russell, yeah.
Right. The act. Bravo, Disney, for the casting. Just that's all I'm saying. Bravo. Great episode. I don't want to say too much about it, but great episode. Great storyline. I like how they're just infusing everything all at the same time with Wakanda, Zemo, the government aspect, the freedom fighters. I was afraid of like them throwing everything all into one thing and screwing it up, but it's all like syncing perfectly. Bravo.
I do have one question I want to ask you guys before we really delve into the episode, because Frank, you mentioned about Wyatt Russell's casting as John Walker. Bravo. I don't think it's the same caliber, but do you think we're going to see the same kind of reaction of people like for Joffrey? Like everyone hated Joffrey's character, so in other words, great casting, by Disney and Marvel to make you kind of hate this character. You don't hate the actor, you hate the character. So do you think we're kind of maybe on that same path?
I mean, I didn't think so, but like I read, I think you shared the link. Like he had shit on his social media. Like people were like sending him death threats. Like when I watch him on air, is he douchey? Of course. Is he an asshole? Of course. But I'm not an idiot. I could decipher the real Wyatt from the character. It's not that hard to decipher, but people get so up in arms. And as bad as he is on the show, great acting, but his character, he's nowhere like Joffrey, man. Like Joffrey's he's Super Saiyan, demonic. He's in a league of his own. Like that. Yeah. That was different. But I am surprised by the backlash that fans have for Wyatt, and I think it's quite sad, and people need to get a grip of reality.
I agree. All right, Justin.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that. I mean, I knew people didn't like him, but I didn't know it was like I thought people understood like it's a character, like it's a TV show. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, that clip came out. That article came out before I think the show even started. It came out like April 1st.
Okay.
So it wasn't. So it wasn't like something
Was it
happened
April
episode 2 or
Fool's?
3, huh?
Was it like an April Fool's joke?
It might have been April Fools.
No. He actually said on his Twitter, his all his social media
Yeah.
platforms. Like it's like people are
It's
really up in arms that somebody donning the red, white, and blue that's not Chris Evans.
I mean, I'm kind of upset that it's not Chris Evans, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, it's not. But let's
No, but
let's
it's a good story. You know,
Yeah.
that's the thing is it's because you know this is a story that obviously played out in the comic books also.
Mhm.
But let's start with the beginning of the episode. It picks up where the third episode left off, and we're in Wakanda, and it's 6 years previous to the time that the present day. And you know, right away with Wakanda, you hear the drums and you hear the music, and it's like, wow, this is like it like kind of puts you there like right off the bat. Like you hear that music, and you're just like, oh wow, they're already
Mhm.
they're going there. And Ao is there, and she's saying the words to Bucky, and he's trying to they're trying to like free him of the Winter Soldier kind of program.
Mhm.
And then we flash back to present day, and she's just like, hey, look, you've got 8 hours, and then we're coming for Zemo. So
But the
pretty
fact
strong
that
start to the
Bucky,
episode.
yeah, definitely, and you know, like you said, six years prior to the events of the show, you know, so that's even before Infinity War. So unlocking Bucky's mind, and then you think about when Steve and Bucky are reunited in Infinity War, how they embrace each other. It's because that's really the first time Bucky is Bucky since, you know, Steve last saw him. So that was very emotional. Great performance by Sebastian Stan. God, I need me some more Sebastian Stan. But the fact that when Bucky sees Io in Riga in Latvia, you know, he actually responds to her in the Wakandan language. So that's like the first time that we've heard, you know, Bucky speak in you know, the Wakandan language. So that was really cool. But the fact that she refers to him as the White Wolf, and like you said, you know, you got 8 hours, and then we're coming after him. It's like, oh, y'all about to, you know, fuck this shit up. So yeah, crazy.
So my only thing was that like I wish they would have gone into like how they did it or how they were able to do this, because I feel like they just like literally they just started saying the words and I'm like, okay, after this you're gonna be good. But like what the fuck did they do to him?
You mean the actual operation?
Oh, it was a surgery?
Yeah, remember in Captain America? Well, yeah, in Captain America Civil War, they froze him. They put him in homeostasis.
Yeah.
So Shuri, I guess you need to buy time to figure out how to get it out of him. So operation did happen. We don't know. I mean, we don't know how she did it, but it's led to believe that operation was in play.
Mhm.
But they said they made it seem like there was gonna be a surgery. I just thought they froze his ass again.
Well, so remember in Black Panther, and for some reason it's so funny because I always remember these one-liners. So when T'Challa comes back from losing Claw and his cousin, they bring back Ross, who got injured, and Shuri's like, "Damn, another white boy I got to fix up." She says that to allude that she fixed up Bucky. So it's led to believe that it was done in a surgery. And then they were just testing out to make sure that there was no remnants of those words in his head.
Gotcha. That's a good line then.
Yeah.
By the way, Russian, very hard language to, you know, try to master, and Io just like does it beautifully. I mean, I'm like, ooh, I need to hear more of her speaking in a different language. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's cool.
She's cool.
But she says to Bucky that he's free, you know, and he gets very emotional about this, you know, and I felt that. I really felt that. I'm like, oh my God, you know, he's free.
I love how they did it in a remote location to make sure that he didn't fucking kill anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Plus,
in case.
Io is a badass. You like don't want to mess with her.
Still, she knew.
Yeah, that's true.
Then it makes you wonder like what's going to happen with Zemo, and what happens if Bucky doesn't turn over Zemo. You know, of course we see what happens in the episode later, but that's an interesting twist that I wonder how that's going to, you know, if it's going to be paid off in this series. There's 2 more episodes left in the season, or if it's going to lead into something else, the Wakanda series, or maybe Black Panther 2, or I don't know. I wonder. I'm very interested to see how that part of the story plays out.
Mhm.
But the next thing we see Zemo, and he's talking with the guys, and with Sam and Bucky, and he says, "Hey, I have the will to complete this mission. Do either of you?" It's like, I thought that was a pretty good, question, because he basically, to complete the mission, he wants to kill Carly Morgenthau. Get
Right.
rid of her, get rid of the superhumans, and he
Mhm.
says the desire to become a superhuman cannot be separated from supremacist ideals. So, yeah, he has some, he's basically saying if you're, if you're all powerful, then power corrupts. What's that quote? Like
Absolute power.
absolute power
Corrupts
corrupts.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of like that kind of thing. So
Mhm.
I thought that was pretty interesting. And then they talk. Then Sam mentions, well, what about Steve Rogers? Or maybe Bucky says that. I'm not sure. One of the two says it.
No, it was
and
Sam.
and then Zemo's like, well, yeah, touche, but has there been another Steve Rogers? So
Right. Sadly,
I don't
there
know.
will never be another Steve Rogers. Those ideals, those characteristics. I mean, that obviously is not something that John Walker possesses, and I'll kind of touch more on that later. What?
I said clearly.
Yeah. No, but Zemo has a plan to basically go and get information about what was her name again? Oh my God, Mama Danya.
Yeah.
What significance she has to Carly, and what's going on with that. And so despite that, Bucky has made aware to Zemo and Sam that the Wakandans are onto them, and they're going to come for Zemo in 8 hours. They got to work fast. Zemo has knowledge. He claims he knows where to look and where to start to get that info. So they go to, I guess, the what do you call it, the camp where all these refugees are staying, right?
Right. Yeah, and Zemo, he's fond of Turkish delight, which I've never had Turkish delight. Have y'all had Turkish delight?
Mhm.
I
Okay.
have not.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's very chewy.
Okay.
But I'm into like the gummy, chewy type of candies. But it's good. Yeah, I don't mind it.
Okay. Basically, Zemo turns into like a creepy candy man. He offers these kids candy for information.
Well, while singing Baba Black Sheep.
Yeah, that was
That
kind of
was
strange.
so weird. That was
Yeah.
so weird. I was like, is he gonna drug these kids?
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. I just thought it was so suspicious of him. Like, I don't know. It was very creepy. And the fact, like, who would take, if you were a child, would you take a candy from a man that's singing?
Probably been known to happen, but
Oh my God.
men, show up in white vans and say, hey, there's candy inside. I mean, same idea, just.
I was asking if y'all would.
Oh, me? No. Sorry, no.
I mean, what age? What's the circumstances? I don't know. Like, I have some bad days where I might just get in the van and go. Like, where do you
Oh,
want to go?
man.
Let's lose this place. Let's get out of here.
Oh my Lord.
Brittany, I didn't know where you was going with that white van reference.
Oh my
For a
God.
second.
Stop it. You know what I'm saying.
Well, it used to be like the ice cream truck was always like a thing like that. There was, there was
Yeah.
the connotation that those drivers were, into more than just the scoops of ice cream and
Yeah, definitely.
Billy bars and all that kind of stuff.
Jesus.
Anyway,
Back to the show.
Back to the show. Yeah.
So the fact that Zemo, obviously, we know from like the get-go, he was going to have like ulterior motives. And while he's talking to one of the kids, giving them the Turkish delight, singing Baba Black Sheep, he tells the girl, like, see those 2 men behind me, they're bad men, and I'm like, okay, he's planting seeds. He's gonna like build an army with children? Like, I don't know, but like, he's planting seeds, obviously, to, for things not to go in Sam and Bucky's favor, which I thought was really interesting. Also, did that little girl remind you of the little girl that played Wanda in WandaVision, or is it just me?
I don't
I
remember.
didn't really notice that. Yeah.
Okay, I she just kind of reminded me of her, just different hair color. But anyway, that's fine. Moving on. Moving on.
Yeah. So the next thing we see is Sam contacts Sharon, and she's in a heavily guarded spot, which she tells them, she's like, hey, the power broker is mad about the doctor's death and that Madripoor is about to get really nasty. She's the power broker, right? What do y'all think?
Either it's her or she works for someone. I don't know. If it's her, then Brittany called it, because I don't know. But I'm still not convinced. Because I feel like if it was her, she'd be way more pissed off than she was when she found out that the dude died. And who was she talking to when she told someone that they died? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced yet.
Frank, what do you think?
Yeah, what do you think?
Justin and I spoke about this off camera yesterday, and I was saying I think she's working for the power broker, because the way she said it on the phone, she said it as if she was submitting to the person, like answering to somebody like, hey, we have a problem, not like we have a problem. Like it didn't come from a commanding point of view as if she was the one leading the charge. It came from like, I'm working for somebody, whoever hears this news is going to be really disappointed.
Exactly.
So I think she's working for the power broker, and probably prior to Sam brokering that deal, she was probably doing it to find a way to get back to America to her family, and that was her way of trying to get out.
Yeah, I agree.
What's your, Brittany?
So Justin and I also talked about this off camera. He made a good point about the previous episode, specifically the title, right? So the previous episode was entitled Power Broker, but we never got to see who the power broker is. At least maybe we didn't think we did, but it was very heavily not focused, but Sharon Carter's character was very heavily involved in the episode. And then she's also involved in this episode, albeit brief. But like Justin said, it's the location that she's at is very heavily guarded. She's kind of walking around as if she owns the place. I'm thinking she probably is the power broker, but like hasn't made it known to people. Like if there's like this facade of, okay, I report to somebody else, but it's really me, pulling the strings. You know what I mean? Like she might have to be doing that just to, cover her own ass and make sure that, because Madripoor is a lawless country, that's just one way to ensure her own safety. I'm not sure entirely, but the fact that, she's upfront with, Sam about what's happening, the power broker went ape shit, you killed the golden goose. It leads to my question of, should Sharon Carter be the power broker? Why would she want the super soldier serum at all? I mean, what's the purpose behind it? If she believes that the hero stuff is bullshit and all that kind of thing, what would be the motive to have the super soldier serum either be created or just in possession of it?
Maybe
go ahead, George.
Maybe like using them as tools for whatever she's doing or whatever she's planning. I mean, I'm sure that having super soldiers would be super helpful for anybody, whatever they might need them for.
Mm-hmm.
So, we don't know her motives, but I'm sure it'd be very useful tool to have an army of super soldiers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one way of looking at it. Frank, what were you saying?
I was saying if she was, the only way I can see her using that for anything is probably a ticket out as a bargaining tool to clear her name, since she's enemy of the state in America. But the question I have for you, Brittany, is that, so those text messages that Carly got, you think that was from Sharon?
I think it's very possible, but I want to also say, okay, this is a weird, comparison. Have y'all seen Miss Congeniality?
Yes.
Okay. So you know how I always call her Martha Stewart because she reminds me of Martha Stewart. The woman head of the pageant, she and her son were this, the villainous, group, whatever, behind the pageant. So it was really the mom that was the brains, but she had the son do all the heavy work. Right.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's something like that. Sharon is the brain, but she has someone else like doing the dirty work. I don't know. So that's kind of like the best comparison I can give. But Justin, like I said, you and Frank have talked about, this possibility. What are your thoughts?
I think the question that no one asks Sharon is like, how does she always know what the power broker is thinking if she's not the power broker? Like, how does she know that the power broker went ape shit? Or how does she know, she seems to have a lot of information very quickly, So
yeah,
I just think that like the fact that we didn't see the power broker in this episode, or we didn't see the power broker in the third episode, which I mean, well, maybe we did see the power broker. We just weren't identified. We didn't know who the person actually was. I just think it points to her. I mean, I could be totally wrong. I mean, it makes sense that she could be working for somebody else, but I think it's more dramatic if it's her, because then it's like, she was kind of left for dead, and this is her way of revenge, I guess. I don't know. She's in a flip because she was wronged.
Mm-hmm.
Frank, so I have a question for you. In the comic books, the power broker was Sharon, like, was she involved in any way, or it was a completely different person?
No, it was a guy. It was some random guy by the name of, I think, Frank something.
Frank Cooper.
It was a white guy. Yeah, it was a guy. It wasn't like an entity. It was just one person in the comic books. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now I know what I'm going to call Frank from here on out. Power broker.
That's what the ladies call him. So.
Mind y'all, that's how Frank celebrated, the Game of Thrones Iron Anniversary, by having relations with someone's sister. So
this is very true. This is very true.
That's a callback to our last episode.
I had to throw it in there. Anyway,
our loyal listeners and viewers. So the next part of the episode that I think was pretty interesting was we see the Flag Smashers, and they're talking with Carly, or one of the Flag Smashers is talking with Carly. I don't think they give this guy a name, but he talks about how, like, hey, he was like a Captain America fan growing up, and he's like, I never thought that there could be another Captain America until I met you. Talking about Carly, now she has the power. Obviously, he has power too. It's pretty interesting that he says that, given what happens to him at the end of the episode. What did y'all think about that interaction? What's that? It was him. Yeah.
Well, that's ironic. I'm sure he fucking hated Captain America right after that.
No longer a fan.
Not at all. I didn't know that was him.
First off, I think it was really interesting to see that they hid the remaining super soldier serum in a grave. I'm like, those European graves are crazy. They've got like secret holes and, just to keep shit in. That's insane to me. But in light of what happened to that dude, not a good look. Not a good look at all. Frank.
You told me that scene about him allies Captain America?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just keeps up with the legend of Captain America and what he meant to the world. I mean, no matter the borders, no matter the people differences, he was a unified symbol for hope. And it's funny how Carly kind of scoffs at it, but coincidentally, she's trying to do the same thing that Captain America did just a few movies before, going rogue from the government and fighting for people, people's rights. So it's that scene was very iconic, and yet at the same time, there was a juxtaposition to it too. So I love that. I love that scene. I think every scene in Marvel, big or small, means something to the grand scheme of things, to the grander message of what's trying to convey. And man, the legend of Captain America lives through, whether it's Chris Evans, whether it's Sebastian or Carly. They all have ideals of battling the bad guy or the big bad government and trying to, create fairness throughout, all peoples of all walks of life. So
I have a question, because at one point there was a discussion between Bucky and Sam, and I think Zemo was present, about, is Carly on the right side of things? Like, is she doing, just in general, like, is she right about what she's doing? I think Sam kind of leaned more towards, like, I agree with her reasoning. I just don't agree with how she's going about it. Right. So the fact that, Sam has experienced struggles, obviously his sister is experiencing struggles, like with, finances and things like that, and how it just doesn't seem like, the government or things like that are on your side. He gets where Carly's coming from, just again doesn't agree with how she's going about it. So, like, did that have an impact on anyone's thoughts? Like, could Sam maybe be swayed? I mean, there was obviously talk, amongst Carly and Sam, and we'll get to that in a second, but, like, could he be swayed? Open to anybody who wants to answer.
I don't think so. I think after everything that Sam's been through, Sam was literally on the run for 2 years with Cap and with Black Widow. And if he was to be swayed, he would have got swayed back then with his life on the line and his freedom in question. Sam's been through way too much, being a military person, losing somebody in battle. He's seen the ugly side of what Carly's trying to fight for. Like, he saw people die aimlessly. He saw people die, horribly. And he doesn't want that to be the ongoing message for people who are trying to fight the big bad government. And I think that's what he's trying to shed light to Carly. Like, there's a better way of conveying your message and fighting for the people, for the voiceless. And he's trying to show her that, because he's been through it. If Sam didn't go through what he went through with the military and be on the run for 2 years, he probably would have, and with his sister, he probably would have fight the same fight that Carly's fighting in that manner, but he's seen too much and he knows how that ends. So
Yep.
That's a good point.
Spot on.
Yeah, and the scene where you have Carly and Sam talking it through. Of course, New Cap has to ruin everything. He gets impatient, and he goes in there.
Idiot.
Yeah, but before he did that, he handcuffs Zemo, and, like, of course, like, the second they head in there, Zemo is free of the handcuffs and he's on his own. This is a really interesting part of the episode, because the
hold on, Justin.
What's up?
Before you move ahead on that.
Yeah.
Does nobody know that Zemo was an ex-military person, and, like, he was in Black Ops? He was, like, that dude. Like, do people not know that? Why would you leave somebody handcuffed alone?
Because they're idiots, as George said.
Like, he was part of the Sokovian Black Ops team. Like, he was a rich guy that said, you know what, I'm gonna fight for my country and be in Black Ops. Like, that's a bad motherfucker. Like, go ahead. I'm sorry, Justin. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that this is a pretty big part of the episode, but before New Cap interrupts, he's like, hey, we got to go. He talks to Bucky, says, your partner's in there, with no backup. We've got to go in there. And Bucky says, hey, Sam knows what he's doing. And then, New Cap's like, well, whatever, I'm going in. And Bucky just steps in front of him. And this is one of the scenes in this episode that really kind of shows, how desperately or how much the super serum is on New Cap's mind, because he looks at Bucky and he's like, this is really easy for you with all that serum in your veins.
Fuck yeah, it is.
And you can tell that, like, he's been thinking about the super serum for a lot, super soldier serum. He definitely wants that. And in a few minutes, he actually gets a hold of it, because as we see, he interrupts Carly and Sam talking, and obviously a little fight ensues. And we told Zemo got away. Well, Carly gets away from New Cap. She just punches his shield or punches him away, and like nothing, because he's not on the serum. And then Zemo tracks down Carly, shoots her in the stomach. Then it discovers when her fanny pack falls open with
fanny pack,
several vials of the super soldier serum. you see like Zemo take delight in crushing the vials, but
Mhm.
there's one of them he missed. And John Walker, who comes in and nails Zemo with his shield, picks it up, and you're like, oh, he looks at it, puts it in his pocket, and you're like, okay,
So
I see where this is going.
I have a question. If you were to be fucking hit in the head or in this general area at all by the world's strongest metal, wouldn't you fucking die? Or is that just me? I mean, good Lord.
It
Yeah.
seems like people get hit really hard with the shield and they recover very well, except for the
Yeah.
guy at the end. But
so
Yeah.
I also I have another question because Carly did get shot in the stomach by Zemo. Is part of the super soldier serum kind of like with Wolverine, like not the same thing, but can they heal quickly on their own, or do they?
I'm guessing.
I don't know, because she was able to like eventually, kind of get back up and
Yeah, she walked off, and towards the end of the episode, she looked normal.
right. So okay, fine, but yeah, like, so I know in the first, I think it was first episode, we were talking about Zemo, maybe it was second, about when he got they're in the lab, they're in Dr. Nagel's lab, and he's walking around kind of, checking out the place. We thought maybe he would have taken a serum vial to, barter with, what have you. But now it's like, after seeing what he did with the rest of the vials, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have used it to bargain with for anything. I mean, he really is dead set on his mission about eliminating the Winter Soldier program, or, the Super
So
Soldier,
that's my
whatever.
question. Why? Why does he not want it to exist anymore?
Well, Zemo, he hates, like you talked about earlier, he hates the fact that they're these superpowered people, because if you have superpowered people, they're going to be supremacists, because they're going to, like, once you're superpowered, like, no one can stop you. And eventually you're just going to take over the whole world. And so he hates that whole concept. That's why that's why I believe, like, there's no way he's the power broker. I don't think he's working with the power broker either, because that's just opposite of what he wants to achieve.
Yeah, and to add to that, in the previous episode, talking to Sam, he says he doesn't want to see these people viewed as gods, because oftentimes when you're viewed as a god, they look past your flaws, and that's when dangerous men can be created. He doesn't like the fact that these people are viewed as gods, and that's what they are. Like, in his eyes, you got to remember, his family was murdered. Even though it was indirectly, but the Avengers are fighting in his home country, and due to Tony and Banner's creation of another robotic god, gods are fighting gods, and his people got murdered in the process. So he has an axe to grind with anybody who has that kind of power.
Wait until he encounters Loki. He's really fucked at that point. Just saying. Yeah, no, I mean, I totally, and I apologize for Luna in the background. She's losing her GD mind. But she really likes this episode. She wants to talk about it, but she can't. She's annoying. No, so the fact that, again, Zemo, it seemed like maybe he would just use the vial to barter with, but then ultimately he wants to destroy that in itself. But it's like, but what is he going to do once that is done with? Like, all the vials are gone. To our knowledge, there's no one else that's capable of making the serum again, because Dr. Nagel's dead. There's no more vials. John Walker took the super soldier serum. What's Zemo going to do thereafter? Is he just, going to find a new mission to do, or is he going to go back to jail? Is he going to die? Like,
take down the Avengers. Take down the Avengers. And he's mentioned that before. Like, he wants
true.
to.
You're right.
Because he said in Captain America: Civil War, he's like, I can't defeat them myself, but if I can have them fighting against each other, they can implode from within. He knows that it's a losing battle fighting people who are more powerful than him. So and the only time he used the super soldier program was to his benefit, to try to, uncover a secret of Tony's parents and trying to implode the Avengers from within. So
So could he do that again? Acquire Carly and what's remaining of the super soldiers there, use them against the Avengers, but then turn around and kill her?
No, I think he really wants to kill Carly. I think he
Okay.
sees Carly as a threat. Like Carly, the Flag Smashers, the Avengers, they're all the same to him. The powerful entities who don't answer to anybody, and they can be and with that being said, he views them as more dangerous than anything on the planet.
Mhm. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, and speaking of Zemo, the next scene we have is Zemo's talking with Sam. And he asks Sam, he's like, were you ever offered the serum? And Sam immediately says no. He said, well, if you were, would you have taken it? Sam says no right away. And Zemo is like, oh, no hesitation. That's surprising. And then Zemo says, super soldiers cannot be allowed to exist. And then Sam asks the question, what about Bucky? And Zemo doesn't really have anything to say, but it's clear, like Frank said, he wants to rid the world of the Avengers of superpowered people. Like that's his goal.
Mm-hmm.
The next scene though is probably the highlight of the episode because Walker comes storming in and Bucky makes a comment like Walker's not right. Something's not right with Walker. And Sam's like, oh, you think? Yeah. It's like, he's like, no, I know crazy when I see one. So
Because
by this
crazy.
point, by this point, Walker has taken the serum. Oh, no, he hasn't yet. He's about to. He hasn't yet.
Yeah.
Because so, he's in there and he kind of threatens Sam. It's like, hey, he's like, like maybe I'll put down the shield, make it fair. And then the three members of the Dora Milaje show up. And it's funny because he introduces himself as Captain America. They don't care. And they just start beating his ass. Like, it's just like, and it's so funny because there's a couple times in there where like Bucky's like, oh, looking strong, John.
It's like, we should do something. It's like, yeah, looking good.
Right. Looking tough or something like that. It's so funny the way he said that. And it's just like, he's just getting knocked around.
I mean, he was already so self-conscious. Like he wanted to get stronger. I think these Wakandan women just like made things so much worse that he's like, man, fuck this. He's like, I'm gonna go take that serum. They're not gonna do this shit to me again.
Yeah.
Exactly, because he makes the comment after he's been defeated, and the shield was taken away from him by one of these women. Very cool because, as we all know, vibranium is originally from Wakanda. Right. The shield is made of vibranium, etc. But the fact that he just sits there kind of dumbfounded, like they didn't even have super soldier serum. Right. So like the very fact that like in order to be great, you don't need to have the super soldier serum. You just need to be a woman. Just saying.
But here's the funny part. When not Io, the other Dora Milaje soldier, when she flips the shield and like puts it on her hand, I think Io's like, no, leave it back. They can keep it. Like it was like it was such a boss move. Like, all right, bitch, you can keep it. But I'm letting you keep it, bitch. That's what I get from it. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
It was so powerful and invigorating to see that. And make no mistake, that's Io and probably the 4th and 5th in command. That wasn't even Okoye. Like Okoye would be like the baddest of them all, and she wasn't even there. And those three women cleaned house.
Yeah.
Well, see how tough they are. Bucky and Sam kind of get involved, try to stop the fight, and Ao removes Bucky's mechanical arm, which I didn't know that was. I was very surprised by that part. George, what do you think about that?
I was not surprised. I was like, I'm sure it's Wakanda technology. There has to be a way to. They had to have planned it before, like if he accidentally went rogue or some shit. Like, let's like do these little moves to like just make the arm fall off, like in Toy Story.
When you sent that meme, I was like, yes, he is Mrs. Nesbitt.
He did. He looked like Buzz Lightyear, like if they took his armor off.
Yep. Yeah, but it was cool. So I'm going to focus on Bucky for a second because why the fuck not? The fact that when he engaged in fighting with the Dora Milaje, that he kind of used his knife, the little flip thing, he did that in the first time we ever saw him in the Winter Soldier. I think he's fighting Steve or something. So that was kind of cool to see. But then the very fact that like when he put his arm back on, he had to do like the, you know, the rotating thing. I don't know. To me, it just looks cool. Like it just sounds cool. Anytime that Bucky fights, as like the Winter Soldier theme kind of like pops on and it's got like that kind of scream to it, it just sounds cool. It just looks cool. The choreography that they for the fight sequences are really just top notch. And with the Dora Milaje with their spear, and it like nearly gets John Walker. I'm like, damn, you know, you're just off by like this much, you know, this much. I need you to do better. But no, but ultimately for John Walker to have literally had his ass and shield handed back to him by 3 women, yeah, the future is female. Just saying.
I will say this:
And following
there'll
that,
be way less wars in this world if women was ruling. That's for sure.
Let's find out.
or maybe more decisive wins in wars. I don't know. One or the other.
One or the other, right?
Yeah.
I'm with
Now,
it.
so right after that, we see Battlestar and New Cap, and they're like at a little like coffee shop cafe or something.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman approaches Captain America and asks for an autograph. He signs it, and you know, Battlestar, he had a funny moment. He's like, you know, when's that going to get annoying? And New Cap's like, oh, you're just jealous because they didn't ask for yours. And he's like, well, it's their loss because I draw a little Battlestar logo next to mine. But the next part is very important, I think, in this whole storyline, because they're talking about the serum, super soldier serum, and New Cap asks Battlestar, would you take it? He's like, hell's yeah, I would. He's like, and his explanation, like Battlestar, even though he is John Walker's buddy, he's like his moral compass. You know what I mean? And like the way he explains why he would take the serum, he says, look, like all the serum does is amplifies who you are. He's like, so you have Carly Morgenthau on this side, and you have Steve Rogers on this side.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes, and he's like, and you've already proven who you are. You have 3 medals of honor. Like, so he's basically telling, you know, John Walker, like, yeah, like if you took the serum, you would be a greater version of yourself. And you can see like Walker's like, he's thinking about it. This is all he's thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
What did y'all think about that scene?
That was a dick sucking session for me, man.
God.
That's what I took it as. He just like, bro, like, you know, he ain't shit. Like he says in episode 1 or episode 2 is like, you know, you can't punch your way through things anymore and all that kind of stuff. Once he became the New Cap, like he knows he's flawed and like he's like blowing up smoke up his ass. Like that wasn't a homophobic joke, by the way. I'm just saying that was just like, that's how I took it as. He was just him kissing his ass. Like it was just,
Yeah.
I didn't like it, and I think he would have took it. I think he would have taken it anyways, but that just gave him the green light. Like, oh, he believes in me. Let me take it and like make this world a better place. Like, nah, bro.
That was fucking stupid. Because he definitely was. He wanted that reassurance from someone that he trusted to before he did it. Because he was thinking about it. Even after he got his ass kicked, he still didn't take it. He had to ask him about it. So, I mean, that dude fucked up.
Yeah, the very fact that John Walker needed like some kind of validation, you know, from a moral compass. I think that's the perfect way of describing Battlestar Lamar Hoskins, is the fact that Lamar had said power just makes a person more themselves, right? And then you, let's say, echo that back to Dr. Erskine when he talks to Steve about how the serum amplifies everything that is inside. So good becomes great, bad becomes worse. This is why you, Steve, were chosen. So I love these callbacks to the original purpose of what this super soldier serum was, you know, meant for. But we obviously, you know, John Walker thinks he's great, but he's just not at the level that Steve Rogers was, and he just needs that boost. And like I said, he just needed that validation from, you know, his closest friend to be like, all right, I'm gonna do this. And that was the day the music died, because man, what Captain America and what that shield will eventually represent at the end of this episode just blew my fucking mind.
And we're almost there.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing is Carly calls up Sam's sister Sarah and threatens her and the kids. Sarah tells Carly, like, look, like, I don't know what you're thinking, but like my brother is not working for that man, meaning the new Captain America. Basically, Sarah relays the word to Sam. Sam is told to come alone, talk to Carly. Of course, Bucky's like, no, I'm going with you. So they show up, and we get right down to it. We get down to the final battle, and Sam and Bucky are looking to find Walker, and then Battlestar gets captured by the Flag Smashers, which I like. The second I saw that he was captured, I was like, okay, he's gonna die, and his death is gonna be the reason why John Walker decides to take the serum. Well, not correct, because
on the right path.
As we learn,
on the right path.
Yeah, as we learn very shortly that New Cap has already taken the serum. He shows up. One of the Flag Smashers is trying to hit him with a pipe. He bends the pipe in two, and right away Sam's like, Walker, what did you do? So he knows Walker's on the juice. Then Walker throws the shield into like a cement wall, and like it's dented in there. He has to pull it out. Yeah. And we see this crazy fight that they're all fighting in the open in this, like, I don't know, it's a weird room where there's like columns and stuff everywhere, and
that's just Europe for you. Just saying.
Yeah. Battlestar, he frees himself. They tied him up. He gets free, and he goes in to join the fight. Carly decks him. He goes flying into a column and just dies. He's dead instantly. Walker goes and checks his pulse or whatever to see, and of course his friend is dead. He's devastated, and then he just kind of loses it. He jumps out of a like a, I don't know, 4-story window. He does a superhero landing on top of a car, and then he chases down the Flag Smasher, who was the Captain America fan we talked about earlier, and he brutally kills the guy with the shield and just pummels him several times. And the second I saw this, I mean, I was surprised they went that far with the blood on the shield and everything like that. But the second they showed that part, I immediately thought, that's why he's not Steve Rogers, because Steve Rogers in the same situation with Tony Stark in Civil War did not do that. Yeah. He stopped himself from killing another person that way. So what did y'all think about that crazy ending?
I just want to say that I laugh at the most inappropriate things. And when Battlestar got punched, dude, I thought it was so funny to me.
Okay. So
hey George, was it like the bell? Remember in Game of Thrones?
Exactly what it reminded me of.
The bell, the dolphin being ejected out of the semi.
If I were to rate those, though, it'd definitely be number one's the bell. I think the dolphin and the boys is still number 2. It's the top 3.
Oh man!
But yeah, I was just surprised that she punched the shit out of him. He hit the column, and he's just like, "That was so fun."
It's the sound he makes after he hits the column. It's like, ugh, like it's just like, and it's like Walker's like, "Come on, Lamar," and it's like Lamar's dead. He's for sure 100% dead.
That's how you say he dead.
He gone.
He gone.
That's a Justin Boyd trademark right there.
Yeah,
trademark right there. But anyways, after that, when he literally goes and murders this guy in front of a crowd and everything, I did not expect that. I thought I was watching an episode of The Boys. I was like, "Holy shit! Like this is really happening." Yeah. And I thought it was gonna be like an episode of Boys where he just one swoop and just bah, and his head pops off. But no, he did it several times, which is pretty fucking crazy, because imagine that dude's strength. Like, it should have just cut clean off the first time. So maybe
yeah,
it
did. But it's Super Soldier against Super Soldier. So
that's true. Yeah, I didn't think about
that. Yeah.
I don't know. Carly got fucking shot. So I mean, this could have been pretty easy.
Well, that's something I wanted to talk to you about, because I recently watched I watched half of the first Captain America movie the other day, and Steve, like when they injected him, they gave him 7 vials of the serum.
Oh, yeah.
So all these other people are getting, they're not getting as strong a dose as what he, I mean, he got like the ultimate dose and the Vita rays. I mean, he was, he
Well,
was given the real good, real good stuff.
but consider how small Steve Rogers was prior to the serum.
That's true.
Consider that
Yeah, but
Dr.
some of those flag smashers are not people, like they don't look like they're like
No.
WWE wrestlers. or
No,
anything.
hold on. But the fact that he was like my height, 95 pounds, the fact that Dr. Nagel had manipulated the serum so that the user would not get jacked up like Steve Rogers did. It was more subtle. I mean, so he probably, pull the components to make them equally powerful without having to jack them up. I mean, that's just what happens with technology and then, advance in medicine and what have you. So
I think what I'm saying is I think Steve got the best stuff and then he got the most amount. That's the reason
Yeah.
why he is the ultimate super soldier. So
well, and the fact that his heart was in the right place too.
yeah, no, that's a big part of it too. I'm just saying he got more of it than anybody else by far. So
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So Frank, what'd you think about the final scene with the shield, the blood, everything?
Man, my patent line, like, damn, Disney went there. Shit, I was like, I didn't think he would do that. I mean, call me very coy and ignorant, but I thought he may beat him up pretty good, but I didn't think he would kill him. And the bottom third of that shoe was dripped in blood. I was really surprised by that. I have never seen anything like that with Disney before. And but again, to further the storyline, there needed to be a motivation for him to turn. And losing his road buddy, his road dog, that was the perfect motivation. And I'm more excited to see the aftermath now. Like now, this is worldwide now. Like fans with phones and it going viral. I want to see the aftermath now. And now, I know one of the previews we see Sam throwing the shield. I think at a tree. I think now that's his opening of getting the shield back. Now he can't be, because John can't be trusted with it now.
I wonder. You're right that scene was in all the opening trailers. I wonder if that's not like maybe one of the final scenes of the series.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Sam has the shield at the end, and that in fact that might be the last thing we see for the season. That's just my guess, because I don't know how that's going to play into. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's the opening scene of season 6 or something. But I feel like it might be the last thing we see.
And it also makes me wonder, like, and maybe John and Battlestar did it off screen. When was the last time they actually like reported back to the government? Like, I know in episode 2 they said we're off the books on this one. They've been off the books for a while. They've been going through countries without approval. They've been fighting super soldiers beyond their jurisdiction. Like, not only did you kill somebody in the open live on camera, you've been disobeying the government for X amount of days now. So I cannot wait to see the aftermath of what happens with John.
So what I do want to just say on this topic, I mean, we obviously talk a lot more, or we talked a lot about the comparison between John Walker and Steve Rogers, and by no means are they the same person, because the fact that when Bucky died in Captain America, Steve didn't go on a killing rampage. No, he just, he did what he needed to do to continue the fight against Red Skull, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas John Walker, like we've already discussed, his best friend was killed by a flag smasher. And what's he going to do in turn? He's going to go kill a flag smasher, just so they know how they feel. Right. And then the fact that we kind of glossed over this, or not even, Zemo got away in the fight of the Dora Milaje with, New Cap, Battlestar, etc. So the fact that now Battlestar is dead, Zemo got away, John Walker has been seen by the entire world of what he did. and as I'm talking and thinking about it, the title in itself, the whole world is watching. That was something Okoye had said to T'Challa when they were in Korea, when T'Challa was about to murder Claw, and the whole world was watching, and everyone busted out their cell phones. So that was.
That's a good call. That's a good catch on that.
Thank you. You're not the only one who had an impact by Black Panther. So.
So
No, but
that's interesting that you said that. Just to interrupt real quick. So, what was the name of the first episode? Do we remember what it was called?
A new world
World Order. Okay, I was about to say everything else has either been a character or a key quote from the movies. So anyway, that's interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the fact that now this shield and this character, of Captain America, now that's completely tainted. Not just by blood, but the fact that what that now symbolizes, again, we've talked about, there's this ongoing theme about what symbols and icons mean to people. How is that going to reflect on the people now who believe in Captain America, who needed that symbol, that hero to represent them or fight for them? Like, what's in store for John Walker, obviously Zemo, and then Bucky and Sam? I mean, because the fact that, and I still say it, Bucky's going to have some repercussions because he too has been seen, on camera fighting and stuff like that. So, is he going to be locked up? Is, Sam going to be locked up? What's going to happen with all these people? And it's a scary thought.
Well, my thing is, I wonder, because obviously they showed so many people were watching and so many people were filming it on their cell phones. Does the government, do they distance themselves from John Walker? Do they kind of like denounce him as he's no longer Captain America? Or do they just roll with it because that's their new boy? I think what happens, John Walker just goes even more rogue. I don't think he is gonna. I think now that he has those powers, he knows I can do whatever I want, and I think he's gonna go on his own path. And I think that's what we're gonna see. But he may go on his own path without the shield, because Sam and Bucky might take it from him, I think.
Yeah, you can't roll with that. If you're the government and you're trying to depict a symbol of hope and fairness and you can't have this guy steal your guy after murdering somebody in cold blood in the open square.
But he look at today's government.
He killed a
a
terrorist though. He killed someone that people are classifying as a terrorist. So that
Fair.
might be your, the way around it. You know what I mean? Even though it's a brutal killing. Yeah.
So one thing I just want to point out, when the Dora Milaje, just forced themselves into the room, and John Walker said that, hey, I'm Captain America or whatever, and they're like, fuck you, we're here for Zemo, and he's like, well, y'all don't have jurisdiction here. And John Walker doesn't either. I mean, he's in Eastern Europe, but he had the audacity to say that Captain America has jurisdiction, wherever he goes. So he just thinks he's above everything. He's above any and all governments. He can't be controlled, which is so opposite of Steve. Steve obviously worked, or he was in the military. He worked for the government. He worked for SHIELD. And yes, he did go rogue, but that was based on his own principles of, I'm not giving up my right to choose, which I respect. But he also didn't go and pull the shit that, John Walker obviously is doing. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting because they have to address it in the next episode. What we're talking about, the government, how they're going to, handle this. Or
I think it'll be the first. I think it's the first scene that we see in episode 5. And by the way, I read that episode 5 is going to be over an hour. So it's going to be a little bit longer of an episode. So that's
awesome.
That's good news. What do y'all, just to wrap up kind of talking about this episode, what do y'all see coming in episode 5? I'll go to Frank first.
I think the government announces him as Captain America and he goes rogue. I think he's so far gone off the reservation now. And it's funny because I don't think he regrets killing him the way he did. I think that just empowers him to do more of the same. And I think the government's gonna want to separate from that. After everything that went through an Endgame and the blip, last thing they need is somebody of a violent nature holding that mantle. So I think they denounce him and I think he goes rogue.
Okay. George, what do you think?
I kind of agree with Frank, but then I can also see the completely different thing and them defending him and be like, oh, he just killed a terrorist. He's a patriot. He's a true American. And yeah, and then everyone loves him even more, and I have no idea. No, I'm kidding, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens. But the only thing I see is like if what Frank says happens, like what the fuck does he have to fight for? Like what is he gonna do? What's his purpose? Because like from what I see, like he has no purpose at all. Like what the fuck's he? What's his goal? Other than to kill Carly, say he does it, then what?
Yeah.
I think power. I think at this point now, because the serum represented power, it represented power unchecked, and I think now that he has a taste of it, he's going to want more of that, and he wants to be his own person and do what he wants how he wants. Like Battlestar said, it just enhances who you are as a person, and I think the fandom, the signing of the autographs, people cheering his name, all that. He loves that. The same things that Captain America didn't care for, he loves. Like Captain America didn't care about popularity and fame and all this stuff and pounding backs. That's not what Captain America did it for.
Are they gonna love him? Like after he does, like if he goes rogue, like no one really fucking likes villains. I don't know.
I guess we'll come to find out. I mean, you always gonna have sympathizers in some form or fashion.
Mhm.
May not be the minority. I mean, the majority, but
Mhm.
this world is built on perspective.
He's gonna become the the superhero for MAGA people, dude.
Oh my God. So I'm curious as to obviously where Zemo has gone at this point, if he's gonna, rejoin Bucky and Sam or not, or he's gonna start doing his thing with the army of children that he, gave Turkish delights to. But will he find out about John Walker having taken the serum? And if his whole mission is to, eliminate those that have the serum, could he take out John Walker or try to take out John Walker? Very curious as to find out, obviously, what's going to happen with Zemo. Are the Dora Milaje going to come back, to search for him or join forces with Bucky and Sam? There's a lot. I mean, and I don't expect all this happen in this upcoming episode, but there's only 2 episodes left, so it's like there's a lot that needs to happen before the season finishes.
There also might be a season 2 of this series, so yeah.
I need more Bucky.
So I think you're going to see more. I think whether it be in season 2 or in a Wakanda series or Black Panther 2, I think he's going to be in more stuff. Don't worry about that.
I'm ready for it.
Any other last thoughts on the episode?
What are your thoughts, Justin?
Yeah, Frank, I agree with you. I think that I think he will be denounced, and I think he'll go rogue. And I think there's going to be, I think Sam and Bucky are going to try to bring him to the authorities, and he's going to fight back. And I think Zemo will be involved somehow. And yeah, that's all I got right now.
And we can't forget about Sharon Carter. Justin, one thing I did point out to you, and I don't know if George or Frank, you caught this. So when Frank, when Sam calls Sharon, he wants her to kind of track Carly and see what's going on. She's like, well, I may or may not have like 1 or 2 satellites, I can, whatever. But there's a scene right before John Walker, bursts in on what would be that final battle at the end. Sharon is tracking, a target, but she identifies that target as John Walker. So that's really curious to me, because Sam had asked her to follow Carly, but she was following John Walker and it said target on the screen.
Right.
So like I said, I don't know, George or Frank, you caught that, but that was something, I think I'm right in saying that, right, Justin? That happened?
Yeah, it happened.
So
yeah,
it's like, is she truly really, Sharon, I'm changing everyone's name, sorry. Is Sharon truly want Carly, or now is she after Captain America?
Well, what I want to point out is, like, how is she able to track anybody? Is it just because they've taken the serum? If
That's
so,
a great question.
if so, that would explain why she didn't want them to kill Nagel, and was pretty adamant about, hey, we need to find Carly. Like,
And thus probably being the power broker.
yeah, I think that's why she's the power broker. So
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
I'm with
Yeah.
it.
Well, maybe we'll find out next week when we talk about episode 5 of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But now we've got a couple other things to talk about. Well, I mean, sticking with the Falcon and Winter Soldier, Disney listened to the fans. They released the Zemo cut this week, which was an over an hour worth of basically a 20-second clip on loop of Zemo dancing in the club from episode 3. So did y'all watch any of the Zemo cut?
I did.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Zemo dancing in the episode was enough for me. I didn't even see the hour of that.
It's what I use to fall asleep at night. No, not at all.
I watched it, but because I'm such a big Snyder cut head over here, it wasn't dark enough for me. So
Oh my god.
too much lighting. Like, I was like, no, thank you.
Too much club music.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on, I have exciting news to announce that Frank has joined the Invincible crew of me and George. Frank watched all 5 episodes of Invincible recently, and I got to say, Frank, happy to have you as a part of the club. What do you think about the show?
I think the show is fucking incredible, man. It's like, you wasn't lying. It's like the boys ratcheting it up a little bit. Like, no, not a little bit, a lot. Like, I've never seen a show where so many civilians get murdered in cold blood, like aimlessly. Like, it's like
and this is an animation, right?
It's
Yes, like,
animated, yeah.
We watch so many superhero shows and movies, and like when like in all those shows and movies, they always find a way, like, if the innocent bystanders, if like a pillar's falling down or like a building's falling down, it always seems to miss them, right? No, not in this show. Like, flying bullets hit civilians, falling down buildings hit civilians, and it looks gruesome. I'm just like, what?
So it's like the bell in Game of Thrones.
Every bystander, not 10 bystanders in the show to get in the bell every single time.
Oh
like,
my
it's
God.
ridiculous. Like, it's
That's
crazy.
ridiculous.
And like, it's a good story. It's a very good story. I was telling Justin, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch the first couple episodes, see what's about. Before I knew it, I was just stuck on the couch for 5 hours watching all 5 episodes. It's really, really good. Stephen Yen does a great job playing the main character, and Jonah Jameson, what's his name? J.K.
Simmons, yeah.
Mhm.
He does a great job as well. It's a great show. I strongly encourage everybody to watch it. It's on Amazon Prime, and I can't wait for episode 6.
Yeah, I need to jump on that. I was actually going to try to watch the episode today before we started recording, but I'm dog sitting, and I'm really rethinking about getting a second dog because damn. But
you should watch the first episode. Just watch the first one. I think you'll get hooked. If you watch the whole episode.
Mhm.
I think it might even have like an end credit. Maybe I think it does have a mid credit or something.
It does.
Okay, that's
Cool.
the scene that you really want to see.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No, I'll be sure to watch it, and then hell, I might pull a Frank and just binge it and be caught up. So, George, are you caught up with the rest of the show?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. It's just me. Oh well, we have been without Nathan for a few pod episodes, and hopefully we'll get him back soon. That way I won't feel left out about not watching some of these shows. So yay.
Yeah, George, tell me what you thought about episode 5 specifically with Titan, which is played by Mahershala Ali. You had Battle Beast, like these awesome characters. What did you think about it?
I thought it was a great episode. I think like this finally the story's moving on a little bit, because after the first episode, I feel like it kind of like they haven't been touching the subject of everything that happened, and like when it relates to the dad,
Right.
Omni-Man or whatever. But now this episode, like we kind of see there was a scene where his son Invincible was like at that, trying to take down that fucking robot. What was his name? The
Machine Head.
Machine Head.
Yeah.
And he was getting his ass fucking beat, bro. And you kind of see like this red cape flying in the air from far away. And I'm realizing this motherfucker just let his son get his ass beat just to watch like what was happening. And I'm like, this dude's like the father of the year.
I mean, in fairness, he said don't go. So he's like, you know,
he
like
did tell him though, and he did get played by Titan Mahershala Ali's character because he used.
Oh, that's Ali.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Shit.
He used his ass, like he manipulated him to become the boss and do whatever he wanted, which is fucking crazy because a lot of his homies died and shit like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my god, that scene was so fucking gruesome, dude. Holy shit.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't see the turn coming. You know, like I had no idea that he was going to be the bad guy. It was like
I kind of predicted. I assumed something was gonna go wrong. I was like, why would he really come to him like for this reason and shit like that? I don't know. His dad was right though, and he did use his ass. But this episode was the fight scenes at the end. That one fucking lion, the lion character, that dude's a beast, bro. Holy
yeah,
shit.
Battle Beast. That's his name. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for Omni-Man. I was waiting for him to step in and like help them out. He said, "Fuck y'all." He did not care.
Well, here's what's so funny because like as I watch Omni-Man, like so Omni-Man and Homeland are very similar, but at the same time they're very very different.
Mm-hmm.
Omni-Man views violence as like a totem pole, like certain levels, like oh petty theft, oh a bank robbery. Fuck that. That's I'm more of a global hero. I'm not worried about asteroid hitting the planet. I'm worried about aliens coming. To what Homelander, he'll do it just because he'll get the pub. So like they're very similar. They're both very egotistical, very the narcissist. But at the same time, I think Omni-Man he views certain crimes as petty, like that's beneath me. And he said it throughout the first 5 episodes to his son, like, don't worry about that. That's humans are beneath you and all this type of like. And his wife has to check him a couple times. But he really intrigued, like Homelander. He really intrigues me, and they're very similar but very different.
I mean, in one of the episodes, you see he's with his wife. They're having like a dinner, and then some fucking dragon comes out of nowhere. He's like, "Oh, do something about it." He's like, "No, it's my day off."
Right.
Like, he literally did not help.
Absolutely.
The one thing I mean, I love this show, but something I thought was really crazy was I just found this out a few days ago. So I think it was episode 4 where Mark he talks to the principal of his school. Now his school is called Reginald V. Johnson High School, and I was like, I know I've heard that name before. So then he meets his principal, and his principal,
Winslow.
yeah, no, his principal is Carl Winslow, and it's played by Reginald V. Johnson. I was like,
yeah, I caught that too.
that was crazy because like the way they did like his mustache and his like, I mean, it totally looked like him, and then it was the same voice. I was like, that's insane.
That was so funny.
Yeah, that was very. I caught that as well. That was very, very funny.
Because they've been showing the high school, I think since episode 1 or 2, and they kept showing. Like I was like, there's a reason why they're showing us that it says Reginald V. Johnson. That name means something, and I was like, I know I've heard that name before.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The thing about, I mean, there's so many things that are cool about this show. I mean, the voice cast obviously is amazing. The soundtrack is pretty cool. It's like current kind of music. The artwork is a little bit different than some of the animated stuff I've seen. It's I don't know how to really describe it, but there's something like it's just really cool about this show. And it's I mean, I don't think it's like the greatest show ever, but it's pretty good stuff. And it's definitely a welcome addition to our superhero weekly watching.
There was something I mentioned to George yesterday when I called him about it. One thing about the show is very different from a lot of shows because even though it's a lot of it's team based, you have all these superhero teams. There's a lot of individuality amongst these superheroes.
Yeah.
Like for example, like there's this episode where I think the aliens attacked the same town like 3 times in the same episode, and like no other heroes showed up except that one team. Mind you, there's hundreds of heroes
Right.
on this planet, but it's kind of like, oh, that's not my jurisdiction. Fuck those humans. Fuck those innocent people. That's not my business. Like, and I find that very, and like they often offhand talk about other teams like, oh, Fight Force, oh, that's less, no one gets to talk about them, but that's a less known team. They can't fight, or such and such. I mean, there's so much individuality and so much. There's a lot of separatism amongst the superheroes in this series when it comes to like deciphering jurisdiction on like who to protect and who not to protect. And I find that very, very, and you see that, and like you see that line in modern day life with our government.
Yep.
When it comes to global threats, so it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, there's so many superheroes in this series that we don't even know about, but there's a ton of them and they're everywhere apparently. So yeah, I'm glad Frank joined us on this. Hopefully Brittany will get a chance to watch the first episode, and then we'll hear what she had to say about that. Guys, the last thing I want to talk about is I watched a movie the other day called The New Mutants. It's a movie that it's on HBO Max. It just dropped on HBO Max a few days ago. It's a movie that was shot like 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. It's been delayed several times. It was delayed several times. It ended up finally coming out like during the pandemic. I think it was like late summer. It didn't do very well. It is it's the 13th film in the X-Men 20th Century Fox franchise. So, did anybody else watch it by any chance?
I never even heard of it.
I was going to, but then I got caught up watching Invincible and I fell asleep.
Yeah.
Remind me, is this the one that has Maisie Williams in it?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
she is. Yeah. Arya from Game of Thrones. She's in this one. It's basically the story is these 5 teenage mutants are basically stuck at this facility, and there's this person who's like watching over them, and it's like I don't really have anything bad to say about the movie, but I don't have anything good to say about it either. It's just kind of a movie. Like it's an hour and a half, which that's cool, but it feels like if Netflix would have made like an X-Men TV series, it feels like this would have been like episode 6 of a 10 season episode, like a 10 season run. There's some cool stuff. I would say, like, since we're fans of Game of Thrones, Maisie Williams, she has a very thick Irish accent, which is kind of funny in the movie. But and the thing is with X-Men, I'm not the biggest X-Men person, so I don't even know like if the characters that are portrayed in this are even like future X-Men characters. So
is there any continuity with the X-Men films?
Not that I could tell. No. I mean, they do reference the X-Men. They do say like, I think these kids think they're going to become X-Men, but like they're more just like lab rats, really. So yeah, it's a weird, like, I don't think the movie like was what it was supposed to be, because it was portrayed to be like a horror film. It was gonna be like a horror film built in the X-Men universe, but apparently they kind of toned it down and changed it. It's just kind of nothing. Like it's hard to describe, because it, like, I didn't hate it, but then I didn't think it was that good either.
So was it worth the delay?
Well, I mean, the thing with the one of the first delays, I think they did reshoots, and I think they changed the movie. I think they did like a
much like Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
You made me not want to watch it.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sure you could probably find like the New Mutants like in 4 minutes on YouTube, and it probably would be better, and obviously less time. But yeah, I don't know. I was kind of
wish I did that with the Snyder Cut. Just saying.
You can't break down 4 hours of brilliance into 4 minutes.
If you cut out the 20-something odd minutes for the flash or all the slow-mo scenes, yes.
You still have 3 hours and 40 minutes of movie, though. There's still a lot more. So Anyway, New Mutants. I can't really recommend it, but if you watch it, like it's not terrible. It's just not anything special. So,
Noted.
um,
Noted. I will not be watching it.
what have y'all been watching lately?
I
Not a
started
damn
a
thing.
show with called Your Honor with Bryan Cranston on Showtime.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Good. It's yeah. Bryan Cranston has this innate ability to pick good scripts. And maybe the show is great because of his acting, maybe because the script's good, or maybe it might be a combination of everything. It's fucking good. It's fucking good. I mean, to not give too much away, it's pretty much so he plays a judge, and his son accidentally kills somebody. He hits somebody, and that killer he hits is the son of a crime family in New Orleans. So he's pretty much bypassing every single rule in the book to protect the son against this powerful crime family. It's
Ooh.
really, really good. I highly recommend to watch. It's a great
And
watch.
you said this is on Showtime?
Correct.
Okay. Gonna have to find
Yeah,
a way
it's
to
a
watch it.
series that it's the whole season is available now because it was like it aired like in January or February or something.
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
Yeah.
Nice.
George, what about you? What have you been watching?
Nothing. Honestly, I watch Invincible every week. Honestly, that's the only thing I look forward to right now.
Oh, stop it. He was like trying to force feed anime down my fucking throat yesterday. Oh,
Yeah, 'cause I finally watched an animated show, but I'm not watching anything right now.
Okay. Brittany, what about you? What are you watching?
So the show that I do consistently watch, The Good Doctor, had a 2-week hiatus. I should return next Monday. So that'd be April 19th. Not sure if it's because of COVID related situation or whatnot. That's like the one show I have consistently watched it. Also, I don't know why, because I don't particularly cook or bake, but I've been watching this spring baking championship show. They start off with, however many bakers and it dwindles down to, the best baker. It's fun watching the challenges. And I get really I become a critic really quickly, but yet I don't bake or cook. So I don't know why I'm even judging these people. But anyway, and then I have my trash TV, the reality TV that I do watch. That's just my guilty pleasure. But other than that, nothing new. Although I have started rewatching BBC Sherlock, but I've watched that several times before already. So Justin, you need to get on the roll about that. At least watch the first episode.
Yeah, I will watch that. We've talked about that for a long time. I
Mhm.
just always kind of forget about it, but it's on Netflix, right?
Well, if I keep bugging you about it, you're not going to forget about it.
Probably won't be.
True.
Yeah.
What was that?
It's on,
I said, if you keep waiting, it probably won't be.
that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, it's true. You should watch it while it's still available.
Did you finish Warrior, Justin?
I haven't even started it.
I don't think you started it already. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm aware of it because I watch HBO Max a lot. In fact, that's what I've been watching lately. It's pretty much the only streamer that besides Amazon, because I've been celebrating the Iron Anniversary, y'all. Have you
seen their new campaign? They're calling it a marathon instead of a marathon.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's like start here, go anywhere.
Yeah, it's a great tagline. They've got a lot of cool behind the scenes kind of little vignette 5-minute things. I've been watching those like crazy. And then they've released a bunch of different trailers, which I don't know. They make the trailers look cool, even for season 8. I didn't like the season, but it was cool the way that they told the story in the trailer.
I just don't get the point. Why the fuck are you giving me all these trailers if you fucked up the show?
Or if you're not gonna, redo the ending.
Well, because they're
better.
They're celebrating the show / trying to get people to buy HBO Max or subscribe. So
Well,
Speaking of HBO Max, I have a quick question because I've seen conflicting dates. Mortal Kombat, is it April 16th or the 23rd?
It's been moved back. Yeah.
Okay. Because I keep thinking it's coming out, at time of recording this upcoming Friday, and if it's, I'm looking forward to it. So I mean, I just want to know the correct date. So
Yeah.
thank you.
It's April 23rd. Yeah.
Why keep moving it back?
I don't know.
You know, there was a thought that, so let's say had it been on the 16th, if you would have ordered HBO Max solely to watch Justice League, you would have been able to watch both of them. But by pushing it back, now you have to get another month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because now it's a month more. That's a theory that I've heard.
Those bastards.
Yeah.
Because I do think that HBO Max saw an uptick in subscriptions whenever Justice League came out.
That makes sense.
So
That totally
that's
makes
just
sense.
that's just my guess. I don't know. I mean, but then again, you could argue that and say, well, I mean, Godzilla versus King Kong is a bigger movie than all of them. It's made a ton of money at the box office.
That's crazy.
You know, so it's like, you know, it fell within the same month window as Justice League. So who knows?
So a lot of people are still going to the theaters to watch these movies.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's made 350 million worldwide.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's insane. I did not see that coming because that movie was pretty bad, but
Pretty bad. It's
I did
it's
not
one of the
know.
worst.
Still
Yeah.
won't watch it.
Fuck.
Still
Well.
will not watch it. Nope.
But
Nope,
we
nope.
do appreciate people watching our show. And Brittany, how can people follow us on social media?
Search The Watchers in the Basement on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to all of those platforms and hit that notification bell specifically on YouTube. That way you can be the first to find out the latest video upload from us. Be sure to give us a like on YouTube. Also leave a comment. That way we can, respond, see, what you think about our show, what we're reviewing. And if video podcast is not your thing, we also can be found on Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Podcasts, thanks to anchor.fm, where they make it super easy for us to start a podcast. So once again, be sure to go follow us. Also share to those who may not know that we exist, because we love to grow our audience. And we can only achieve that if, you share this podcast. So be sure to do so.
Yeah. Thank you, Brittany. Yeah. We want everyone to share, subscribe, listen, watch, all that stuff. We want
tweet at us too. Don't forget about that. I'm just
There you go.
realizing I forgot about that. If you want us to review anything in particular, be sure to use the hashtag Watchers Basement. That way we can see it, and we will be sure to put that on our list. So we've got quite a bit of things we're going to be reviewing, all Marvel type things, but there's stuff I want to do, and I have to get everyone on board. Harry Potter. But yes, let us know what you guys want us to review next.
Okay. Thank you, Brittany.
It's gonna
So
happen.
for Brittany, for George, for Frank, this is Justin saying we will see you next week as we review episode 5 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're out. Bye.